It's the SKOR North Twin Show.
All right, welcome in to the SKOR North Twin Show here, where we just want the Twins to win their first playoff game in 18 tries. In fact, I think we can do a deeper dive on that on the State of the Twins Monday episode. Just sort of let's go into some of it. Let's exercise it as we've been all week here. I watched a huge chunk this morning before we did our Purple Daily live stream and our Twin Show here. It's like an hour and a half documentary about the 0-18 streak, and it's incredible. In fact, that's where we're going to start here. Feedback Friday, place for you guys to hit us up in the YouTube comment section, SKOR North YouTube channel, the feedback tab in the SKOR North app. We will be live for Twins Vent Line on the SKOR North YouTube channel after every Twins playoff game, so be sure to subscribe there. But a bunch of people, I would say the biggest chunk of feedback is people telling us, you got to see this documentary on YouTube about the Twins 0-18 streak. I tweeted out the link. You can find it just at Phil Mackey. I sent it out this morning if you want to watch it. Mm-hmm. Dude, it is like he did the math on this at the end. He took the highest win probability the Twins had in all of these playoff games. So, like, if they had Torrey Hunter hits a home run, the first game of the streak was Twins took a lead in the 12th inning or whatever it was, 10th inning, I can't remember what it was. Torrey Hunter hits a home run, and now you got the lead, right? You have an 80% chance to win that game. He took the peak win probability of each Twins playoff game, and he did the math on the likelihood that you would lose all 18, and the odds are 69 billion to 1 that they would go 0-18 in those games. Yeah. But, like, I don't know. I love that Kyle Farmer and some of these other guys are calling it out, because I was thinking about this. All of these Twins teams, even the front office, Dave St. Peter kind of acknowledged it with his Slay the Dragon deal. But if you ignore it or you say, it's 20 years of history, we have nothing to do with it. The fans do, though. You're disregarding how fans feel when you dismiss the 0-18. So I kind of love that Farmer, Ryan Jeffers a little bit. Like, there's some guys who are lean into it, own it on behalf of the fans, even if you weren't playing in 2006 or whatever, and take pride in snapping this ridiculous streak.
They were talking on the telecast when Pablo Lopez started a couple days ago, that Pablo also acknowledged it, said he had read about it when he was traded from the Marlins. And so, yeah. But, I mean, the next step now is go out there and own it and destroy it. You know what? That's the next step. Go out there and win a baseball game, score 7 runs, get a good performance. Don't have Baldelli overthink things. So, like, that's I want to see the Twins in game 1 just take control of a game. And they might not win by 5, but take control. Feel like there has been a feeling, I think, basically since 2019 at least, when this current group and executive group got to the playoffs, where it's felt far too often like they're sort of afraid to be there. Yeah. The moment gets too big. And this is not just a player thing. Just to be very, very clear, this is also a decision-making thing. So go out there and just bleep and destroy it. You're going to be at home. You're going to be comfortable. Like, this is not, you're not going to the Bronx. You're not anywhere near the Bronx. Well, the Yankees aren't even in the playoffs. Just take the damn streak by the throat and choke the life from it. That's what I want.
Wow. Break us down.
Break us down. Yeah, yes.
Break us down.
That's what I want, right?
I agree.
Like that's what I want.
Yes. It's yes. So we'll do more on that on Monday and just kind of go through, tell some stories about. I've covered and have been at most of the games in the streak. But this can be kind of our lead here, I guess, on Feedback Friday from Charles Raymond. As the foremost authority on all things Twins, you guys, I'm just curious as if you could be so kind as to humor me by answering the following 2-part question. The top 3 reasons why the Twins will advance in the playoffs and the top 3 reasons why the Twins will not advance. Let's start with why will they advance?
Why will they will advance? Because Royce Lewis plays, and because of that, they get
only if.
I have real reservations if he does not play. I have real reservations. He creates a calmness that you can't legislate. Like I can't you can't say I'm Carlos Correa, so everybody calm down. Royce Lewis has just a weird it factor. So that's my top one is he needs to play for me to be confident, and I think for them to advance. I think if you're going to choke the life from this thing, Royce Lewis plays an instrumental role. They'll advance because their top two starters, I think, are very competitive and good. Like it's been a while since I've had this much confidence in your the two guys who could lead you to a series sweep are in place. Like it's not like Jorge Lopez starts, but then let's get the Dauber going in game two. That's gone. And so that's my second one. And my third one is that they will advance because, again, assuming Royce can play, this team's, since the All-Star break, heated up a lot. And they can score runs. And as we've talked about before, their biggest problem in this streak has not been their pitching, although that's come up. It's been their ability to score runs. So those are my top three things about why I think the Twins can advance. But Royce Lewis to me is incredibly important.
What about you, Dex? Give me 3 reasons why they're going to advance.
Their starting pitching, their top horses are as good as it's ever been entering a playoff series in my lifetime, which is pretty bizarre to say because they've had a lot of playoff teams and they've had Johan Santana, but they've never had the guy behind him. They've never had someone behind your staff ace. I mean, even in 2010, it was Lariano into Pavano. They just haven't had as two of good starters that are probably going to get Cy Young votes this year in Sonny Gray and Pablo Lopez. So that's number one for me. Number two, again, assuming he is healthy, but Carlos Correa. As much as he has, struggled offensively this season, he is legitimately one of the best postseason hitters of all time.
Yeah.
He has played in the playoffs just about every single season outside of last year, and I believe maybe his rookie year, and I think he might even made it when he won Rookie of the Year. Regardless, a ton of postseason home runs, ton of postseason experience, won a World Series. That type of calmness, that type of person in the middle of that lineup is great. And it kind of dovetails into my third thing, which is you have a young core here, and we've kind of not mocked this, but we've never really have given enough validity, but the rookies and the young players and Lewis and Kirilloff and Julian and Wallner, you have all these new guys in the lineup that haven't been to the playoffs before, but at the same time have delivered some huge clutch hits and have nothing to do with the past playoff failures. And it reminds me of, this young core reminds me of the core that came up in 2001. And then in 2002, they did go to the ALCS. And hopefully then it extends, not just like the last iteration. But I think those 3 reasons to me are the biggest reasons why they can probably make a run.
Yeah, I'm going to echo some of these points. But reason number 1 is the starting pitching. You're going to get, in theory, the best, most competitive starting pitchers on paper that you've run out in a playoff series. I know Johan Santana is the best pitcher they've had in the last 20 years, but he was largely followed by guys that didn't quite belong. There was one year where Carl Pavano was their number 1 starter, and then kind of like a diet version of Francisco Liriano, 2010, then Brian Dunsing. You're running out legitimate Cy Young steam pitchers. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to run out either Joe Ryan or Kenta Maeda in a game 3. I would say reason number 2 is the lineup. This lineup, even without Royce Lewis, this lineup is one of the 5 or 6 best since the All-Star break. So Royce Lewis makes a big difference, but even if he's not there, they've shown they can score some runs. But the sneaky third reason for me is the bullpen that we've questioned the whole season. Louis Varland, since taking on the bullpen role, has been dominant the last few weeks. I get it. You're playing some weaker competition in September. It's a little bit different when you face some of these, like the Blue Jays lineup or the Astros lineup, but you've got some guys in here now. Brock Stewart, if he's going to be part of this thing, your bullpen might go from a huge question 3 or 4 weeks ago to having Maeda to having multiple guys who can get big outs in these games. Mm-hmm. So, all right, on the flip side, 3 reasons why they would not advance. What are you most worried about?
The first one is Rocco. And they're over preparing for things that for games that really take snap decisions that are great, because when you get into playoff baseball, every little thing matters. I would argue in the regular season, of course, because things aren't magnified constantly, that's not the case. So a Rocco misstep in the regular season, or hell, let's not just blame him, a Falvey Rocco Thad decision at 10:30 in the morning that gets screwed up in the regular season might cost you a game. It might hurt you, but it doesn't become magnified ordinarily. In the playoffs, things do. So if you've decided Pablo Lopez, the third time through, we're getting him out, and Rocco, and he's pitching good, and Rocco doesn't say, you know what, no, we're not. That's my biggest concern, because flat out we've seen that. I mean, in 2020, again, we saw that. You hurt yourself a lot potentially through pitching moves. My second one is potentially, okay, because I agree he should start game 3, and he's going to. My second one, a little bit, Joe Ryan, because he's been up and down a bit. That's a deciding game now, and I'm not suggesting that you hold on to Gray or Pablo like you did Odorizzi in 2019. So this is not a blame game. This is just a question. Joe Ryan, that third game, I actually have confidence there, but I could see that going awry, creating some problems. And then the question is, when do you get him out of that game? And the other one is this, because again, things are magnified in the playoffs. So this is going to seem like a small nit, but if Royce Lewis can't play, which obviously would be a huge deal in my opinion, who's playing third base? Because Polanco, because I'm with you, Phil. I think the bullpen has become a strength. Now, that does not mean that they're going to be infallible, but I think that they actually have become a strength. But the third base thing scares me, because if you say, and here's where I'll tie this whole thing together in a bow. And I saw, and I believe it was an exclusive in today's Star Tribune, Lavelle E. Neal sat down with Buxton, and Buxton is now making a hardcore pitch to be on the playoff roster. Okay. So let's say you get to game, and this scares me. Let's say you get to game 1. If Buxton's on the playoff roster, there's going to be a large temptation to DH him. So let's say now you say to yourself, okay, cool. Julian plays second. Polanco plays third if Royce can't play. Stuff like that costs you games, because, ground ball, let's say the bottom of the 7th, man on second. Ground ball to third. Polanco, who I think is a very serviceable to good second baseman, but definitely throws like a second baseman, heaves the ball away. Now that run scores. I'm just saying things like that. This whole Buxton thing really scares me, because I know he wants to play badly, and I understand his frustration. I see more bad than good that can come from him being active.
Okay. Well, all right, 3 things that you're a little nervous about, Dex.
Yeah, just the, I guess, not inexperience, but the bullpen getting in its own way. Rocco getting in the bullpen in its own way, putting in Pagan in situations you shouldn't be putting Pagan in. I have made my stance on Griffin Jacks very clear, that he has lost 10 games. You have some bullpen guys that, even though it's intriguing, but it's more of a thought unknown, like, because you haven't seen Chris Paddock and Louis Varland and a lot of these guys get extended bullpen innings. So I'm intrigued by it, but you for sure can get burned in a 3-game series. And honestly, it just takes 1 game in the best of 3 in the wild card round to get burned from that. Number 2 for me would just be, you get bested by better managers, better situations. You have Dusty Baker, who is a really good manager, and you have Justin Verlander potentially you got to go up against. Like, yeah, you're going to face good teams regardless in the playoffs. I get that. But those teams can also obviously burn you pretty good. And then the third one would be health. Yeah, just if Lewis and Correa, even if there's a setback, and in general, man, like, when you've played 162 games at this point, no one is healthy. No one is feeling as good as they did on opening day by any means. So losing another player that we're not even thinking of to a random foul ball off the shin on a cold day in October, right? Like, that would be classic Minnesota sports, that someone fouls a ball off their shin and then he's out for the rest of the series. So injuries would be third on that one for me.
I think you can throw all this back, my optimism the last 3 weeks back in my face here, but I really, really like this team and the way they're set up for the playoffs. And I've been saying it since before the All-Star break, that once you condense this thing and you get away from like the back end of your rotation, and a lot of it is health. I think injuries, here's my hot take, I guess. Injuries are the only thing I am really nervous about until you play the Braves or something, where it's just like their roster is so absurd and ridiculous. Are there some relievers that make me a little nervous? Of course, but you can go pretty far down the list of guys that you would trust. Largely, like I know that Duran guys are going to give up some runs once in a while, but like I trust Duran, I trust Louis Varland right now, I trust playoff Maeda. Like, there's a lot of guys I trust to get outs in big playoff games. There's a lot of guys I trust to get on base in this lineup. So unless injuries prevent Correa and Royce Lewis from being participants, I feel really good about this team going into the postseason. We'll see. You guys can all laugh and ridicule in a week
making me nervous.
once the season's over. I'm not cocky about it. I'm not like thumping the table here. I'm just saying I feel really good relative to other Twins playoff teams about this collection.
And this might sound crazy, but what you just said is why the Buxton factor concerns me. I feel really good about what they have done without him.
Okay.
Really good. I'm very concerned. No,
we know, Judd. Like what can you add? I think we know where you stand. You don't want Byron Buxton on the roster.
But I'm saying that your enthusiasm towards this team gets altered if they change the team.
My enthusiasm doesn't derail if Buxton's on the roster.
Okay.
You really think that Buxton is a derailment for this team if he's on the roster?
I think he creates a temptation to use him in places that could bite you in the ass. Yes.
Okay, but he could also hit a 3-run homer in a key spot.
And I'm not willing to take the trade-off. I think there's a better chance that they will use him at DH, or in center field, and they will tempt fate. And I think where they've landed right now, especially if Royce Lewis plays, is a very good place.
Yeah.
So paint a picture for you here. It's game 3. You're down a run. It's the bottom of the 8th. There is a runner at second base. Okay. And you pinch hit Byron Buxton. Will you question for, I don't know, Michael A. Taylor? I don't know. Pick a player.
Christian Vazquez.
I don't think he'll sniff the playoffs. But yes, Christian Vazquez, someone that had to be subbed in there because of pinch running and roster moves.
If you pinch hit him? No, that's fine. I don't trust these guys. I think they'll try and start him.
If they start him in center field, that's a huge mistake, I think, because then it's like, my knee gets sore in the second inning, and now we have to shake things up. But
if you DH him and you start Polanco at third and Julian at second, you've weakened 2 positions.
Yeah, I know, but let's just see. Like, I'm pro Buxton on the roster. I don't necessarily know how this shakes out until we know what the roster looks like. So,
yeah,
I'd rather Julian be the DH and have Royce Lewis at third and.
I like to give Rocco as few options as possible to screw things up. That's my goal in life.
I know. All right. Jason Truax says, "Stat nerds unite." Oh, Jason's pointing us to the. So Chris Hannell, I believe it's pronounced, produced the documentary about the 0-18, and Jason says, "Trigger warning: it reviews each game of the 18-game losing streak and quantifies the rarity of the incredible heartbreak." It even compares it to other streaks in baseball, like the 22 straight wins of the Indians and the Moneyball A's, and you can see it. So just another recommendation, weekend watching for you guys. Ross Charbonneau says, how come Patrick Royce was never asked to do Around the Horn? He would be perfectly hilarious for that show. He seems to have relationships with Bob Ryan, Woody Page, and all those guys. Is it because our market's not relevant enough? Why wasn't Pat ever on ESPN to do Around the Horn? Could you imagine?
It's funny when that show started, when they started that show with Kellerman, because Max was the original host. There was a columnist from the Los Angeles Times, TJ Simers, who was absolutely hilarious, but they fired him quickly because he ripped the show in print, I think.
Okay.
And so I think I don't know that Woody and Pat are buddies, but I think that their character columnist at that time for sure was Page.
Okay.
Who had done Cold Pizza, of course.
Yeah.
Like on ESPN too.
Pat I don't know, man. Pat does not color inside the lines enough to be on a 30-minute TV show like that. So.
And they give these guys like preparation packets. You think Pat Royce is going to read a preparation packet? No. So when Tony throws him a topic, he's going to start citing chapter and verse.
Yeah. Tony would or Royce would lead the around the horn panel league and being muted from Tony because he would just continue to go. Love Pat, but that's what would happen.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not wrong.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Brad Christensen, what do you think the offseason plan is for the Twins in regards to Sonny Gray? I believe he's going to be a free agent. Do you think the Twins will look, let's say Gray wins the playoff game that breaks the streak. He's lights out. Do you think they try to re-sign him if he wants to keep playing?
I think they'll try it. I think he's going to, with the season that he just had, I think he's going to get a lot from somebody, and I don't think it's the Twins. And I still don't know if Sonny Gray necessarily, I think he likes his teammates. I don't think he necessarily agrees with how the organizational philosophy of pitching works. So yeah. I don't think he comes back.
You know what's weird? He had those cryptic comments at the All-Star break that like he's kind of checked out a little bit of baseball and accolades and the grind and all that stuff. This sounds bizarre, so just bear with me. If the Twins win a World Series, Sonny Gray retires. I wouldn't be shocked at all if he walked away from baseball after that. It's the one thing he's been chasing. He's had a solid career. Wouldn't shock me at all if he hung it up if he won a World Series with the Twins.
If the Twins win the World Series, they all should retire. The entire team should
just Lewis,
just everyone.
Call it a career. We just won a World Series. See you later. So here's the question with Gray. I do think he'll get paid. I want to know where he goes though, because he did the Yankees thing and it blew up in his face. Like he was not meant clearly for that market. So I am curious, like a Dodger,
Bravos,
maybe?
Atlanta,
like a Giant. Atlanta's a good one.
Atlanta.
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
a good one.
But the Twins have to figure out, like, at some point they have to figure out who is the rotation next year. If it's not Sonny Gray, I mean Pablo Lopez, yes.
Paddock.
I guess Bailey Ober. So Paddock's going to be in it.
Maeda's gone.
Well, Mally's a free.
Gray, Mally probably all gone. Yeah. So it's Pablo Lopez.
Joe Ryan.
I mean,
okay.
What's that?
Yeah, Pablo. It's Pablo, Joe Ryan.
Yep.
And then Paddock would kind of slide in for Sonny Gray, but that's a downgrade.
And Varland probably is a back end guy.
Dude, I keep him in the 8th, man.
Yeah.
If he's throwing a hundo.
Well, yeah, but he supposedly wants to start, so.
That's fine. So does Josh Hader did too back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start. That's fine. You're just going to throw 101 out of the bullpen and go to the Hall of Fame. That's great. And then Razorbacks 1 says, continued disrespect for Bailey Ober on your show.
It's true.
5 shutout innings earlier this week, 8 strikeouts. He needs to be on the roster in the playoffs. He can pitch multiple innings. Phil loves the fact that Paddock throws upper 90s but overlooks the productivity.
I got torched for that comment, and I know that Dex clipped it and stuck it on Twitter, and it became fodder. But I got killed for saying that, and I didn't say definitively. I said after Paddock's first outing, in which his first inning of work was great, and his second was a bit shaky, that I wasn't sure if I would just make him a slam dunk to be on my playoff roster. And the reason why I said that was, if you choose between Ober and Paddock, I don't think it's this really simple choice. I mean, Bailey Ober does intrigue me, so I'm not going to put him down.
It might be decided in advance though, because I think Ober is slotted to start Sunday's game against the Rockies.
Okay.
Because they need guys to pitch on Sunday, right? So
Sure.
if he's going to start the game on Sunday, which right now, according to the ESPN pitching matchups, Bailey Ober is slated for Sunday. If that happens and he throws even 50 or 60 pitches, he can't pitch Tuesday.
Okay.
So would you then
Wednesday
maybe pitches Wednesday? He could maybe pitch Wednesday.
Maybe.
Okay. And my guess is Paddock is on the roster, but my point was I didn't mean it to slam Paddock. I just think that the commenter there is correct, and for the life of me, I cannot shockingly remember this person's name. But
Razorbacks 1.
Razorbacks 1. Thank you very much. But yeah, Bailey Ober has had a very nice year, and while I'm not in love with him, I do think he does deserve respect for what he's done.
Yeah. I'm going to put 8 minutes on the clock here in just a moment so we can have some parameters for the Immaculate Grid Challenge today after Judd talks about how you guys can lose some weight and maybe get in the best shape of your life this fall.
That comes from our friends, of course, at Livia Weight Control Centers, voted 3 consecutive years the best weight loss program in the entire state. If you're watching this on YouTube, look at the guy on the left, look at the guy on the right. Yeah, that's right. They're both sports dad. What's the difference? 40 pounds down there. Lost 40 pounds a couple of years ago and have heard from so many of you who have joined this program, who have seen both inside and outside the state that Livia works. It's a lifestyle change, but it's a simple one. It doesn't mean that you can't enjoy game day. It's not a strict diet. What it is the dietitians and nutritionists are going to help you lose the weight. And then most importantly, they're going to help you keep the weight off. And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to feel so good as the weight comes off and then stays off. All those clothes that don't fit now, guys, they're going to fit. And here is the offer right now. If you contact them, 3 months, not one, not two, but 3 months for free. That's right. 3 months free. 855-GO LIVEA. Livea.com, LIVEA.com. If you try it, of course, send me your stories on Twitter at @JZolgad. I always love to see the success that the SKOR North community has on Livea, Livea.com.
All right, it's time for the Immaculate Grid Challenge here on the SKOR North Twin Show. Ooh. Okay.
Expos.
Interesting.
I
Expos
like
on the grid. So we're looking to go. We had a great performance yesterday. We dodged a Burt Blyleven pothole thanks to Declan. And what was our score? Like 35 or 40 or something?
It did. We took 20 minutes, but yes, it did. It did.
It did take 20 minutes. The 8 minutes on the clock is mostly just a yield sign. So here's what we're looking at. We're looking to go 9 for 9 first and foremost. And then beyond that, if we can chase a rarity score with obscure players, that's great. We're looking for a Washington National or Montreal Expo who was a Guardian, an Expo Nat who was an Astro, and an Expo Nat who was an All-Star. Then we're looking for a Brewer who was a Guardian, a Brewer who was an Astro, and a Brewer who was an All-Star. And then we're looking for a Met who was a Guardian, a Met who was an Astro, and a Met who was an All-Star. 8 minutes on the clock. Here we go.
All right. As far as the Brewer and Guardian, who else was involved, Declan, in the CC Sabathia trade? Because that was with the Brewers, right?
Matt Laporta was, but I don't know that he... Remember that guy? Failed prospect? I don't know that he played.
And he was the top prospect, but there were other guys that definitely played.
Alcides Escobar, but I don't think he played for Cleveland.
Matt
They
Gamel.
were all prospects.
No, Gamel was a homegrown Brewers guy. The CC.
I think it was all prospects, wasn't it? I don't think those guys surfaced before
Who
that
was
trade.
the center? Who was? No, you're right.
Yeah.
How about this though for a national all-star, Matt Capps?
Sure.
Matt Capps made an all-star game with the Nats, huh?
I trust that. I trust.
I think that he made the all-star game and then he got traded to the Twins the same year.
Okay.
Matt Capps. Okay.
I trust him. A lot of trust.
Matty Capps.
Nice. 0.2%.
Wow.
Met and Astro. Nice work, Dex. Met and Astro. Rusty Staub.
Love that one.
Legrand Orange.
Staub, right?
Yeah, very good.
Rusty Staub.
I think he played
The
for the
Rust
Colt.
Master.
I think he played
the
for
Rust
the Colt.
Belt. 1%.
1%.
LaTroy Hawkins works for Astro Brewer.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy.
The Hawk.
He's great on the
guys
Immaculate
cutting
Grid.
it up. Oh man, we're on a
Nice.
heater here, boys.
Oh boy.
1%. I'm trying to think. I'm in Twins mode right now. I'm just trying to think of Expos.
Did Tyler Clippard play? He played for the Nats. Did he play for the Guardians?
I think he did, actually.
Did.
I think he did.
Pretty sure he did.
Yep.
I'm going to write that name down. Let's just hold it. Let's just
I'm
hold it
almost
for a second.
I'm almost positive he did.
Uh-huh.
It's a good one.
All right, so
Okay, Brewers. Well, there's some all-star ones here too. I mean, the obvious all-stars but that's the thing. Every team has an all-star every year. So like Ben Sheets might be. Did Ben Sheets make an all-star game with the Brewers?
I was gonna give you
Jeff Jenkins.
I was gonna give you Ricky Weeks.
Ricky Weeks.
yeah.
Horrible fielder.
Jeremy Burnitz.
I love Jeff Jenkins because
Jeff Jenkins for sure was an all-star.
He looked just like Brett Favre.
Looks like Brett Favre, yeah. They had Brett Favre and then Bizarro Brett Favre.
G, right?
Geof, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Jeff Jenkins.
Jeff
There it is.
Jenkins.
Yeah, you got it.
Come on, be less than
That's
10.
gonna be that's gonna be low.
0.8%. Let's go.
Not
Let's
less than
go.
10. Not less than 10.
Jeff Jenkins.
R.A. Dickey.
Yes,
For Mets All-Star.
Is there a more obscure one? Because didn't R.A. Dickey win a Cy Young award with the Mets?
Oh, yeah, but like when I
Or
think
the Blue
Mets,
Jays.
I think the recent guys, and I think like David Wright, Jose Reyes. I guess New York's a big enough market that people probably try to pull a fast
Who was a
one,
lousy? Who was a lousy? I mean, the Mets have had some terrible teams that had to have all-stars.
Well, think back to the
80s,
early 90s. They were pretty atrocious, weren't they?
early 80s, they were awful.
I
Before
think
they
of
got
like the like the pre-David Wright, Jose Reyes teams. Well, Ray Ordonez might have been like one of those defensive wizard all-stars.
Carlos
I don't think I'm
Delgado.
confident in that.
Might still be high.
Al Leiter? Delgado played a handful of years with the Mets for sure. And he had a couple like really good years with the Mets after he left the Blue Jays. That might be a good one, dude.
George Foster would make the All-Star game as a Met. What?
Carlos Delgado.
Okay.
Declan brought him up. He definitely had a few good seasons with the Mets. I don't know if he was an all-star, but
I would assume he was.
All right.
let's try
Do
it.
it. Oh!
Now I gotta look him up. Carlos Delgado.
I feel good about myself because I didn't do that.
Carlos Delgado. Dude.
How?
Blue Jay.
Oh,
Blue
come
Jays.
on, dude. Carlos Delgado spent 4 years with the Mets, finished with MVP votes in 2 of the seasons.
But never made the All-Star
He
game.
had 38 bombs, 114 RBIs in one of the years, 38 bombs, 115 RBIs, and didn't make the All-Star game? What? Come on.
All right, let's keep going. Let's keep.
All right, throw a Met out, Judd, that made the All-Star game.
Actually, let's go back to teams
Okay.
because I hate the
Mickey
I
Tettleton,
hate
didn't he
that.
play for the Mets?
Dex, I like your guards. I like your Tyler Clippard one. I'm almost positive that's correct.
This is
It's okay. Let's just keep 2%.
nice job. That Mickey Tettleton did not play for the Mets. I just looked him up too. Now I'm
No,
cheating.
great batting stance though. Great. Do you remember the stance?
Yeah, you held
Great-
the bat back like this.
Great batting stance. Yeah. Houston and Montreal.
Houston.
And Montreal or Washington.
Boy, I don't know. I'm shook. I'm shook that Carlos Delgado had 38 home runs, 2 different seasons with 114 ribs and got MVP votes and somehow wasn't an all-star
That's
with the
BS.
Mets in a New York market.
That's BS.
Jim Palmer finished 2 strikeouts shy of 200.
It's true. He did. Well, I mean, CC Sabathia is the obvious answer with Guardians and Brewers, right? It's like maybe the biggest one, probably.
Yeah.
I think John Axford went to the Guardians after the Brewers. His funny little mustache. Good
Did he?
closer for the Brewers.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I think he pitched for the Gardos, maybe even in the pandemic season.
Okay.
Yeah, 1.
God, this would have. Wow.
This
Just
was
a lot
good,
of
It's a good grid here, man. This is a really good grid.
Mets and Guardians. The Francisco Lindor trade. Who else was involved in that? The shortstop that's now with the Dodgers. Ahmad Rosario was involved in that. Any
There you go.
pitchers?
It's so recent that I feel like
Oh, you know what? Carlos Baerga,
Oh, good one, Phil.
right?
Yes,
Carlos Baerga.
that's right.
There you go.
Good second base. Yeah, 5%. That's
5%.
good.
Look at that mustache on Carlos Baerga.
It's a hell of a second. He, Knobloch, Robbie Alomar
Yeah.
in the 90s. Whoa.
We got one guess left, and I'm guessing finding an all-star Met would probably be our best here.
George Foster.
Mike
George
Piazza.
Foster.
Okay.
Try George Foster.
who's the first baseman guy too? That you can do George Foster. It's fine. The broadcast guy.
He did not.
Oh wow, George Foster did not.
No.
Wow.
I don't feel bad now though. It was already off the table. Who's the first baseman?
Sorry,
John Olerud?
Keith. What's his
Hernandez?
name? Yeah.
Yep. Pete Alonso was the top answer.
Okay, George Foster was an MVP and an All-Star several times All-Star with the Reds.
Okay.
Had some good seasons with the Mets, including a 28 homer, 90 rib season in the
But
early
didn't make
80s, but didn't
make the All-Star game. All right, well. All right.
We had it. We had it.
Well,
Unfortunately.
we sort of did.
No, we have to stew on this over the weekend, and we'll do it again on Monday.
Oh, and
here.
tomorrow's a terrible one. Tomorrow's where they get really cute.
I love when they get cute. I'm excited. I might even maybe I'll just jump on.
You know what? Don't
jump on
leave
the
me
YouTube
out
channel
of the group.
alone here.
Leave me out of the group thread tomorrow.
All right,
I don't.
2%.
2%.
Damn it.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see how you guys are conquering the Silver Slugger from the Rockies. A bunch of BS.
Hey, don't forget, we will be live Twins Vent Line on the SKOR North YouTube channel after the Twins playoff game starting on Tuesday. We'll find out this weekend what time the games are at and all that stuff. And so we're looking forward to it. Maybe we can, I don't know, Judd, you're going to be in the press box probably for those games? You do that or no?
I have still waiting to see my approval from the Twins. But yeah, assuming I get approved, I will be there.
Wow.
Let's figure out a room for you to do it too.
Lunchroom.
All lunchroom.
Downstairs?
Upstairs or downstairs?
Upstairs.
Okay.
That back lunchroom.
Yeah, and then maybe what you could do is, as they're about to win their first playoff game in 20 years, if you could, they won't let you do this in the press box because you can't stream a game from the press box. Maybe you walk outside the press box.
Yep.
And you can be live as fans are celebrating. We'll talk offline and figure out how we can
TikTok live, or
no, like we'll go live on the YouTube channel, and then you'll start.
I don't know how to do that. That sounds like a lot of work. I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
We'll explain it to you off microphone. See you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Why
here
do we
on the
talk
SKOR
about
Twin
this
Show.
on the show?